Hey folks, Green Stuff Gav here. This week we're going to do a bit of sculpting. Often get asked about sculpting hair, and I've been working on this 54mm Space Marine who's going to be a Space Wolf. So I thought that's a good opportunity to sculpt a beard on and show you the technique I use to sculpt hair. Now, as per usual, quite straightforward, get a lump of green stuff. Now, some techniques will have you make small sausages of green stuff, and then you place them, put them in place, and then blend them together, and which does look very good in the end, but is a lot more effort than it needs to be, I think. All I tend to do is put a lump of green stuff on. We get this so that it's the right shape of the hair we're looking for. So in this instance, we're going to come under the nose for the moustache, and then just bring it up along to the ears. So quite straightforward. The key to this part is to get your green stuff into the right shape, because we'll be adding detail later, so we're not too worried about keeping it smooth or clean. We're just looking to get it into the right shape so that it looks natural and flowing. Obviously we're covering up quite a lot of the existing detail, but we'll be cutting this back, so that's not a big problem. It's just to make sure that we've got the green stuff on all the bits we want to be covered in hair. So you can see, just bringing it down. Don't want too long a beard, but enough that it'll be noticeable. So slightly too long. The good thing we're working with metal models is you can literally just cut away, cut right up against the bare metal, because we're not going to damage it. Just cleaning up all the detail. I'll go back in and sort that in a moment. So what we're also going to do, as you can see, these folds isn't very natural for flesh, for hair, so we're just going to smooth it out. And remove any fingerprints. We're just getting the shape, so the shape looks good. Okay. Now, it's not massively difficult hair, but it is time consuming. All we're going to do is going to take the flat of the sculpting tool, and we're simply going to pull it in the right direction so that it looks like hair. So stample, I'm going to start here and just score a line. Obviously the thinner you make your cuts is the finer the hair will look, but obviously there is a different technique if you're going to do things like braids and that sort of thing, but for this we're just going for an unkempt beard. The good thing about pulling downwards is when we get to the end we can move our sculpting tool, and that will give us a bit less of a grouped together hair, so make it look a bit more natural. That gives the impression of being individual strands. see I've avoided where the mouth is, because all we're going to do is guess where the mouth is. And plonk some green stuff in to make a new mouth. And then moustaches generally don't go straight down, they go sideways. So we're just gonna cut that in. Don't know if we can see that. No, camera's refusing to focus. But there you go. And it is as straightforward as that. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do some hair on top of his head as well, because Artemis comes with this real short cropped hair, which isn't very Space Wolf. So we're going to take a lump of green stuff. Now for doing actual hair on the top of the head, we're going to do it in two sections, because most people, even when their hair is styled different ways, the hair comes in a centre part in any way. So I'm going to do that. Just plonk a load of green stuff on and follow the same technique. Is we're going to get it to the right shape, and then we'll sculpt the hair detail on. Obviously when you're working at smaller scale models, there's a lot less room to manoeuvre and a lot less tidying up needed, but for something as large as a 54mm Space Marine, you do need a little bit extra time to get the shape right. Obviously following the direction of the movement means that we've bent this green stuff out to give it a bit more of a flowing look. And we'll follow the same technique. We'll just take our sculpting tool and drag it along to give us hair detail. Obviously the finer you cut this green stuff, the finer the hair will look. But I've kept this hair on his head slightly thicker than the one on the beard, because that then gives you two different textures. And it is simply a case of following back. Just carefully go line by line. Don't be afraid to move the model around to get a different angle so you can keep your cuts consistent. The key thing to any sculpting is just taking your time, and one of the issues I have is where I could go from one piece to the next piece just to use the green stuff. I've got to remember all this is still wet, so we don't want to interact with it to accidentally squish it with our fingers or anything like that. So again, we're just, obviously this would be slightly easier without the backpack on, but I hadn't decided if he was going to have hair or not when I did the conversion. So as we did with the Sometimes it's good to have a plan, and sometimes it's fun just to wing it, just see what happens. See, and that's where you get the most fun, I think. Just sit down with a whole load of bits and see what you can create. For example, I've just broken this sword off. Yeah, it is just as easy as carefully running your sculpting tool tidy up the top, reintroduce that center line, tidy up the joints. There we have long flowing locks and a great big bushy beard. And once you're done, go back and tidy up any detail that just needs a little bit of definition. And clean up some of this extra green stuff that was put on the chest plate, because again, that's something you want to keep clean. One bearded Space Marine. Obviously, while I've done this on a Space Marine, you could do it on any model that needs a beard or long flowing hair. And the good thing is by doing all the mouth differently also helps distinguish him from a stock Artemis. So. But hopefully that was useful to you guys. It's only a short one, but it's quite a straightforward technique that a lot of people are complain about having to do. But like anything, it's all about taking your time. And if you're not happy with it, let it dry, peel it off and do it again. But all in all, thanks for watching and have fun.